Alright, hello everyone, this is DayTraderRockStar for a trade alert update, I would say, for Thursday, March 11th. So basically I'm doing a video here showing some good setups going into the end of the week here. We've been trading Monday through Wednesday on DayTradingRadio.com, and a lot of these stocks that you're going to see today have already been traded once, and they're setting up on continued consolidation patterns, and should break out some to higher levels here. So I'm just going to go through just some new stocks on the list, and normally I just post this on the site for the members, but we had such a good week so far. It's only Wednesday. I want to throw this out for everyone, and we'll let it go from there. First one, a stock brought to me in the chat room. GameStop, GME here. This is basically a standard downward sloping channel. I hesitated on getting in on this one in the beginning, but then I realized that we've had a series of gap downs here, and I'm just putting this channel line in. Let me get this rest. And you can pretty much see the channel line here. What's happening is we're consolidating right underneath the 20-period moving average. Stochastics are still pretty bullish right now, and we're heading up. And we're actually had a little mini 3-day consolidation. Each time we came up against the 20, we've really pulled back and gapped down. So now we're actually not gapping down. We're actually holding the 3 days. It's going to be interesting. I think we're going to get a breakout tomorrow to the upside out of this channel short term. So I'd watch 1860 for that GME 1860 on that. Next stock we're going to look at here is Monsanto, which is a potential setting up down the road here. Monsanto, a nice channel pattern. There's something I continue to trade on the site, and it's just a matter of, this is a good example of just recognizing a potential trade coming down the chute. And what I want to do is just, mark this down, put an alert on my software and stuff, and say, hey, look at this when it gets down around $69, especially if it gets down to the lower trend line. If we get any type of spike down or anything, I'll be picking this one up aggressively, and I think we're going to have a great trade on this. So this is something to look forward to. I'll, of course, alert you to it when it happens. Pfizer, another stock that we've been waiting for, and again, I'm just about ready to take my position in Pfizer. I wanted to see a little further pullback underneath the 200-period moving average. There's a lower trend line here, which is a good example, another good educational little factor here. Whenever you have a trend line that actually breaks through and comes back and retests it, and you could draw that trend line down through, and it ends up holding true on many other occasions. It's a very strong trend line. So again, if we could get under $17, I'd start my first position back into Pfizer here on that lower trend line. So again, I think the risk reward, I think there's only maybe a 40-cent downside risk now on Pfizer, and you could actually start your position now, or you could wait for any type of flush, possibly tomorrow, and I would pick that up on some weakness here. ADM, Archer Daniels, we traded this one in the room today on the site, and of course this is a beautiful pattern, downward sloping channel. And what we like about it is we did trade this out of this right up into this, and we added to the position when it pulled back to the 20-period moving average today. So that was something that had to be monitored on the 5-minute chart. You look at the 5-minute chart, and you'll say, well, it's pulling back, it's pulling back. When do I get in? There's really nothing you can see on the 5-minute chart that's going to let you know when to get in on a stock, unless there's like a certain moving average. But if we zoom out and go back on the daily, I'm saying, all right, look at this. The 20-period moving average is right at this 30.10, 30.06, 30.05 area. So we picked it up 30.07, picked it up a little bit higher, and rode this back up. So now we're continue to hold this long here in ADM, and it just looks absolutely great. And I want to see this hold. This is the first time this is going to hold to 20, and then we're going to continue out of this. So that's ADM. That's a nice little channel trade. WMS here. Nice setup here. Now what I like about this setup is something I recognized tonight is a slight little inverted head and shoulders pattern. But again, this is another channel trade. If we zoom out here, you can see the nice channel developing. Even more of a little wedge pattern. WMS, it is WMS. But what I like about it a lot is the midpoint here. We're actually holding in the channel, and we're actually putting a little inverted head and shoulders pattern. But the important thing is this 50-period moving average right above us. Because the 50-period moving average is acting like the neckline, the pop through this 50-period moving average happened over here. When we popped through the 50, it was a big, nice pop here. Again, we have tried to test it here. We tried to test it here, tried to test it here, and we failed each time. We're pushing up against it. We have a nice bullish crossover in the stochastics, and we have a nice target of a trend line right above us. So everything pointing for a breakout tomorrow, and I would just watch for a continuation break above 39.60, and this one should bring us right up to that upper trend line, and then at that point you make the decision if you want to actually sell into that strength. So WMS on the list for tomorrow. LDK, if you were listening to the site, sent out an alert right before this one. Sent out an alert at the end of the day that LDK is definitely set up for a bounce, and we actually got that bounce right when the alert went out. So you could actually time when the alert went out, and then it kind of ran into that. So I love the volume, little volume spike today. Stochastics still look good. Closing above the 20, closing above the 50. Looking for a continuation pattern tomorrow and just a continuation move here in LDK. Now FSLR had some interesting news, and I took a position, a small, very 50 share position in FSLR because I do like the solars at this level and this pullback. So this is all playing into LDK's trade here. Activision, ATVI. This is a great educational chart here because you can see the trend line that pulls back, the pop up, the retest of the trend line, and the move up. In that retest, you put in that right shoulder, and then you see a nice inverted head and shoulders pattern here. So a lot of different patterns starting to show up here, all very bullish. So right now, all we have to worry about, and again, the 200-period moving average above us, giving us that 220 squeeze. So the 200-period moving average and the 20-period moving average squeezing, and the price is going to break above the 200, but not probably before we get a spike down to test this 20. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I would not be surprised to see a flash down in the market and watch this pull back to that 20-period moving average, which would not bother me. I would actually buy it on that. But again, it's not good. You have to plan for that. You have to say, oh, ATVI is pulling back. Look, it's pulling back to the 20. I want to buy it at $10.90 or under $11. I want to buy it. And once it's down at that level, I'm going to step in and buy some more of it. If it breaks out here and breaks above the 200, again, there's also a long trigger there. So both of these, because of the setup, I would buy it on weakness or buy it, just buy it in this area. But I would definitely look for a little more weakness before it finally breaks out. Forest Labs here, we got into this position yesterday, added it to it today, and we had the breakout. Again, another nice inverted head and shoulders pattern. Notice this one consolidating above the 20. That's the reason I got in it yesterday. Today we got the follow through and the explosion, and really the close above the 50-period moving average and some decent volume. So love to get a follow through on this. I think we're going to get some nice follow through tomorrow on this, and we'll try to ride this up as far as we can on FRX, Forest Labs. OXY, just a couple that we went over today. Still setting up pretty good. We traded this one for a little scalp today, and it turned out very nice. It's still in a nice tight consolidation. A break of yesterday's highs would be very bullish. It's an inside day pattern right now. Today's stock range, trading within yesterday's stock range. So a very bullish setup here, and a break of yesterday's stock high would take this one probably to 84 and higher. So OXY really setting up nice. Abbott Labs, here's another one that we should get another follow through and another test of yesterday's high. So the pullback today, not really concerning me. I think we're going to get another push to 55.50 and then above that on ABT. INTC, you continue to hold that. We're breaking out of a flag pattern right here, a very bullish flag pattern. Semiconductors haven't really broken out yet. We'll go to that in a second. But you can just see a very, very nice flag that consolidated on the 20-period moving average. That was the first real clue of the impending move here. once we started holding that 20, I said, get in on this, get in on this. We're going to start breaking out here this week. And we did break out. Going into Thursday tomorrow, we should see that continued breakout, and we're very close to making 52-week highs on Intel, and I don't see a problem at all on that. So Intel, very easy trade. Continue to look good here. WU, Western Union, another very bullish setup. We planned this out in the inverted head and shoulders base, breaking above the 20-period moving average. Stochastics volume should get that continuation move tomorrow. So that's a few stocks on the focus list. We'll have more. I'll list more tomorrow at about 9:15 on the site as I do more research here. But this is just a good example of some of the stocks we're finding these days on DayTraderRadio.com. And hope to see you in the markets tomorrow.